Well, hello there. How is everyone, you beautiful, beautiful people? That's right, you are beautiful. And I hope other people are telling you, not just me, because that would be a travesty. But anyway, this is video 2 of 2. 2 of 2. Not 2 of 1. That went wrong. Anyway, doing this video because someone reached out. It was a comment yesterday. And it was like, tell us what you feel. You know, we pour all of our thoughts and ideas into the comments. We discuss this Idaho 4 case and we let you know what we think. But what do you think? What do you think? And I've touched on numerous things what I think. That I feel that there is just not enough evidence out there currently, publicly, that would convict Brian Kohberger beyond a reasonable doubt. That's just my thoughts, just my feelings. I'm not a professional. I'm not in law enforcement or anything like that. I'm just somebody who looks at what's out there and makes a decision, much like the people who look at the stuff and make their decision that he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I don't quite understand what gives them the right to feel that they have the hierarchy over things, that they have the right to call people who has a difference of opinion from them, or remark to them in a negative fashion, because all we're doing is interpreting something differently than them. And surely we're entitled to that. Some would think otherwise. It's their way or the highway. But look, one thing I will say is what I struggle with this entire crime is trying to fit Brian Kohberger into the crime. Now, I'm not completely naive to believe that there's definitely no way that there is ever stuff that's going to come out. Do I consider trial by ambush as an option here? I absolutely do. I do feel that is the only way that we're going to see this trial potentially progress, because if they genuinely have nothing else, I can't see it progressing at all. I can see it being a mistrial or a hung jury at best. But again, the trial by ambush is something that I haven't taken off the table. But yes, I struggle to fit Brian Kohberger into the crime. I truly and honestly do. That's how I feel. I see this crime as a crime that didn't happen by accident. It was purposeful. Everything about it stinks that it was a targeted crime. But when I think about it being targeted, I think to myself, we've already been told, and we get it, we speak about it all the time, how many students were in this town? Around 12,000 of the residents in this area are students. So what made these students stand out? What made these students the ones that would become the victims of this atrocity? Now, some might turn around and just say, well, on the night, it was the best option. And I think to myself, is that right, though? Because we're saying that, or what we're trying to say is that this person, Brian Kohberger, who's been accused, had come over to this area no less than 12 times. That's what we're saying. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying that's what we're trying to be, that's what's being pushed as the whole narrative. Somebody who come over from Washington to Moscow, Idaho, multiple times, and on the last time did this heinous act that left us with 4 victims. So I'm thinking to myself, well, something must have stood out about these. There must have been something specific to these people. Now, was it indeed one person? Was it one person that he'd just become fixated upon, like we've spoken about, and seems to be the default that law enforcement go to? This is man versus woman who rejects him, and man loses his mind and exacts revenge. But then I think, but surely if it was just to target one specific individual, then there are easier ways to do this. There are easier ways to do this than to enter this house on this specific night and do it with the amount of risks that this crime actually presented on that night. The fact this was indeed a night where there'd been a football match, so busier, And by all accounts, from what you'd see when you entered this house from outside, or when, approached this house from outside, there was cars. There was loads of cars that would potentially represent a house full of people. We know that there was times, and I spoke about this, I believe, yesterday even, talking about the fact that there would be parties in this house that would sometimes see the people who lived in the house not even there. They'd be elsewhere. Some people would be in this house and not even know whose house it was. It was just a typical campus party house. So that's what I struggle with. I struggle with thinking to myself, what was it about this specific house? What was it about these specific people inside this house? Because like I say, I don't see it as random. So if it's not random, then there must be motive. It wasn't just that this person wanted to kill and went out and did so. The fact that we're trying to say that this person had been over here and was looking at the property, so on and so forth, and if law enforcement have got it right, which so many of you feel that law enforcement do indeed have it right and they have the right guy, then why did he do it? What was it about this house? That's the sticking point for me. I can't make the man fit the crime because however I look at it, I don't feel that this individual fits. Yes, he'd previously suffered from heroin use. Do you know what I mean? But he'd got over that. He'd overcome that and got into education. We know he overcome it because he got into education, got to where he was, and he was, by all accounts, appeared to be quite successful at it, to the point where he was a TA and he was marking other people's works, albeit he was a harsh marker and pissed people off, but not being funny. But what student isn't pissed off by some teachers? And it's usually the teachers who push them to excel because they just come across as more strict. Students generally want an easy life and to be left alone. They want to have a teacher that understands them, and that's not generally the ones who come in and force them to do the best that they possibly can. That's just life. So yeah, I see somebody who from the outside would appear to have overcome some incredibly difficult times. Even during them difficult times, the biggest crime that he could even commit was stealing off his sister a phone that would be sold to feed his habit. He didn't burgle someone else's house. He didn't attack or kill then. We don't think. But that's the worst he could do, steal a phone off his sister. And then his dad dobbed him in, and the rest is history. But he then all of a sudden seemingly upgraded to this mass murder event with seemingly absolutely no motive, no connection whatsoever. What do you think? Even you people who genuinely believe he did it, what do you, and I know we don't need it, but what do you think his motive was? I'm interested to hear it. What do you think Brian Kohberger's motive was in this? Was it revenge? Is there some connection to something else? When we listen to the stories of Hudson Lindau and Hannah Claire, was there something? Is there something in the background? Had he been talking to someone? Had he befriended somebody and decided to exact revenge? Is that the story we're going with? Or did he just up sticks one night and decide to enter into this house that I don't get it. I can't make it fit. Square peg, round hole. That's Brian Kohberger and this crime for me. Let me know down below, and I'll catch you all in the next one.